Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pearl Atelier. Today I would like to share with you about the yellow jade, which is one of the less popular jade as compared to its compatriots, the green color or the mutton fat jade. However, it is a very auspicious piece of jade, and stay with me till the end of the video where I shall be explaining why you should invest in yellow jade. So as you can see, I am wearing this stupendous piece of brooch, which is around 2 inches in length, so it is quite large. And this is the second time that I have struck gold when purchasing a piece of jade, because the seller is from the Western world and they are not really in tune with, or probably don't really know much about jade. The first time that I purchased a piece of jade that was really fabulous is from a lady from Ukraine, and it was an antique piece of jade. It is a celadon green jade and etched into the shape of a butterfly. So if you would like to know more about that, I'll be linking it towards the end in the playlist. But today we are here to talk about the yellow jade, and this is a stupendous piece. The brooch itself, obviously it is made by an artisan. I don't usually purchase beaded jewelry because I always feel that it's not really having a solid hardware like some sort of precious metal. But I got this because of the centerpiece, which is the yellow jade. So this jade, you can see it is somewhat like an egg yolk color. The color is very intense and uniform throughout, and I know that the artisan doesn't know this is a piece of jade, because when you look at the back, the backing is completely obliterating any kind of sunlight going through it. And if you know anything about jade, usually for jade pendants, they would usually leave the backing completely transparent and having a frame around the jade, so that when the light hits it, you can see the luminosity of the piece of jade. The color really comes through. However, because the design is very modern, I would like to keep it as it is, if and unless I decide in the future to fashion it into something else and to remove the piece of jade stone to reset it into another type of jewelry. For the moment, I'm happy to leave it as it is. So this is a fabulous piece of jade to have. And also, if you notice, I am also wearing a pair of jade earrings. So this is from circa 1970s to the 1980s. I actually did the seller a favor because she wasn't sure what sort of jewelry she was having. So this is what you would call new old stock, meaning to say new, it has never been worn before. However, it is old stock because it is from a certain time period, and I told her this was most probably between the 1970s to the 1980s, because as a child I've seen it being sold in jewelry shops in Hong Kong, in Singapore, or in Malaysia. This was actually mass produced for the tourist market, because at that point in time there was a lot of interest in anything Oriental and Far Eastern, and the Western world were traveling to our part of the world because of very heavy marketing. For example, by Yves Saint Laurent, when he launched his perfume Opium, he had a huge party in Hong Kong to launch it and spent millions of dollars, and it was really a money-making machine for the house of YSL, and other fashion houses followed suit. And also at that same time, James Clavell, who is the author of Shogun, wrote another novel called Taipan, and it is loosely based on a trading family, in particular the Pacific Swire Group, who is the owner of Cathay Pacific, who started out as a trading company, which was very sort of like a destiny for me, because later on I would be working for a heritage company that was a trading company as well. This is why I really wanted to get this pair of earrings, because I've never seen it anymore, even though it was mass produced for the tourist market. In those days, you have to remember, Westerners who have traveled to the Far East, You really had to have money in those days in order to travel, and they would purchase these pieces of jade jewelry so that when they go back home to their Western countries, they would wear it with pride, because it would mean that they have gone overseas to purchase these pieces of jewelry. Because in those days, don't forget, they do not have online shopping. In order to purchase these pieces of jewelry, they would really have to travel overseas in order to get them. So this is a very special part of the jade history, where they are moving jade away from the carved pieces of jade. And also, I think because of the practicality of it, most of the jade carvers sort of been already deceased, or they couldn't get sort of like a protege to pass their art onto, because it takes years and years of crafting their skill, and the younger generation didn't have that kind of patience. And also, secondly, they needed to produce jade at a fast pace and like in a large quantity, so they went into more modern pieces of jade design, such as this one. So I'm very excited to have this in my collection, because it's very difficult to get these. There are some reproductions which were produced later on from the 1990s onwards, but it's the quality of those pieces are very flimsy and not as well made. I also purchased another pair of stud earrings from the same seller, just a simple stud, so that I can wear it for my everyday casual wear. For that color, it is something more of a lemon yellow color, whereas this pair of earrings and the brooch is more sort of like an egg yolk color. And then coming into why yellow jade is very popular. So in the past, the older generation still would not purchase yellow jade for themselves, but they would actually purchase it for the younger generation, because when you look at the color of jade, it reminds people of the rising sun. So it is sort of like a new chapter, a new day. So for example, if they have a younger generation who have just graduated from school and is about to venture into a new career, they would purchase it for them as sort of like a good luck charm, because it represents a new chapter, it represents a rising sun. So hoping that their future would be like a rising sun. It is also very suitable for business people, because it is also associated with the color of gold. Yellow is the closest color to gold, so it is also linked to prosperity. So it is very safe and very auspicious for business people to wear them or to display them in the office. As I mentioned so many times in my video before, please stay away from lavender jade. It should not be displayed in the office unless you are in the business of jewelry business or in a spa business. It's fine, but it should never be displayed in a corporate office, because I've seen the consequences of it firsthand, and it was very devastating, to say the least. Also, you can see here in this interview where Miss Oprah Winfrey is interviewing Beyonce Knowles' mother. She is actually wearing yellow jade, a spectacular yellow jade. So is Miss Oprah. So that is exactly why I say it is very good also for business people, and also for those of you who want to start a new chapter. For example, if you've had a broken relationship and you want to start a new relationship, or you want to venture into a new business, this is the perfect jade for you to invest in. So I hope that you have enjoyed listening in on the properties of yellow jade and why you should be investing in it. I think it's a very fun color to have. It's not as serious as its compatriots, like for example the green jade or the mutton fat jade. As I mentioned, when you look at it, it is like the color of sunshine. You feel very cheerful wearing it. And for more information about jade, I'll be linking the playlist towards the end, so you can check out my other videos that I've done on jade. And if you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I usually answer to all my comments. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.